Today I want to show you a twist on a classic Greek dessert called galaktoboureko. In our case today, I want to share with you my chocolate galaktoboureko. Just as delicious, a lot of fun, and very easy to make. Now, this is one of these recipes here that typically starts off with the syrup first. So in my case, the difference to this recipe is I'm going to do it with a orange syrup rather than the classic lemon. I think chocolate and orange go better than lemon, my personal preference. First thing first, I'm going to get my pan going because in this recipe, I'm going to show you how to make the syrup first and let that kind of cool down to at least room temperature while we work on our galaktoboureko. So, for this syrup, I am using 1 cup of water. It's a very, very simple and basic syrup. 1 cup of sugar goes in here, and the juice of 1 orange. Very easy, nothing to this at all. Even if you get a couple of pits in there, no big deal. I'm lucky in this case, the oranges I'm using have no pits, or at least none that I can see. So get those off in there. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw the whole orange in there and just let that go. The object of this syrup is very simple. 1 cup of water, 1 cup of sugar, and the orange. All you're going to do is just bring that up to a boil and turn it off. That's it. And just let this sit while we work on the rest of our galaktoboureko. Perfect. Just like that. So let that come up to temperature. Let me juice this up a little bit. And just keep an eye on this, stirring this occasionally. And the name of the game here is to dissolve the sugar completely. Once it comes to a boil, boom, we're done. Now, the next order of business is actually assembling our galaktoboureko. Now, here's the thing. In this case, I am using my mixer. I remember when my mother used to use one of those crank things. Those were like my childhood memories. In this case, use a mixer. You can even do this with a whisk by hand. If you got like the brute power, go for it. Now, to start us off, very, very simply, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some eggs and I'm going to crack them in here. Here's the thing with this recipe. Typically at this stage, I would mix in some sugar as well. The traditional galaktoboureko calls for 1 cup of sugar as well. Because I'm using chocolate chips to give it that amped up chocolate flavor, I'm not actually going to add any sugar because you might as well just book a dental appointment because it's going to be way, way, way too sweet. Trust me, I've tried it and I know. So all I'm going to do is at this stage beat up my eggs, and if you notice I'm putting them in somewhere else when I crack them because very frankly I'm not that skilled, to be honest with you. So I'm just going to beat up these eggs, let them go. Look at this. My simple syrup is already boiling. My friends, this is pretty much done. That's all there is to it. My sugar has completely dissolved. What I'm going to do now is very simply just take this, put it off in the back, and forget about it until the very end when my galaktoboureko comes out of the oven. So, my eggs are beating up here. 1 teaspoon of vanilla goes in this. Alright, now that our vanilla is worked in there, time to add our semolina. This recipe uses 1.5 cups of fine semolina, and that's just going to go in there. And this will provide the body to our galaktoboureko, but making it still light. Now, this is working its way. Let's kick that up a notch. Nothing to this so far. Very, very easy. Next order of business, let's fire up our oven. 350 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 160, 165 degrees Celsius. Get that preheating in the background as well. Notice what I'm doing? My time management. I'm actually working on the custard. I'm preheating my oven. My syrup is done. Bobby's my uncle. Everything is going to plan. All right, now the next part of this is 8 cups of milk. Again, slow your mixer right down. Don't be a hero. and slowly pour in your milk and kind of let that do its thing there. The next stage of this, I'm using 3 cups of milk chocolate chips. You can use whatever you like. You can use the semi-sweet, you can use the unsweetened, what the hell, you can even use like the dark chocolate. It's fine, whatever you prefer. In this case, I like milk chocolate the most. Now, here's what I do to melt my chocolate chips. You could either do the double boiler bain-marie thing, and that's fine. I use the comfort and efficiency of my microwave. And what I do is, I simply melt my chocolate chips in 30-second increments. So I put it on for 30 seconds. Most microwaves have that feature anyway. There we go. First phase of my chocolate chips. Not much is happening. They're just starting to get a little soft on the bottom. So we need to go a bit more on this. Another 30 seconds and you get the idea. Alright, so now that my chocolate chips have melted, look at this. Now that's the money shot right there. Perfect. Now, just going to take this, again, slow this down, and very, very carefully, you're going to pour your chocolate in here. Here comes the chocolate part of our GALAKTOBOUREKO. And carefully, just scoop it all out without like coating your mixer and everything else, like I'm doing. And my friends, if I can make stuff like this, believe me when I tell you, so can you. And there goes the beep of our oven. So our oven's ready to go too. Our chocolate is mixing in nicely. Time for the next phase of this, which is actually heating this mixture up and thickening it up. Stop your mixer, scrape off the chocolate here, because as we do our thing here in the pot, the chocolate will remelt again. Perfect, just like that. All right, so now that our custard mixer is ready to go in, just gonna pour it in here. I know it's not much to look at now, but I promise you, in a very short while, this will be something that'll make your toes curl. So, let me just get the rest of this chocolate and all this goodness in here. Perfect, just like that. And what I'm going to do, I'll leave that here. Oh, there's some goodness left in here too. And I don't want to lose any of this, especially with the cost of like chocolate chips nowadays. So, in goes our chocolate. Oh, a little more there. I know. So, give that a quick stir there. Now, as this heats up, it will tighten up substantially to the point where it's almost going to be like a thick custard. And as it bakes, it'll thicken up even more. All right, so now as our chocolate is heating up, our chocolate custard, what I'm going to do is slowly, the trick to this is using a whisk. My mother and my aunts and everybody use like a wooden spoon or some kind of spatula. I found that your GALAKTOBOUREKO will actually turn out much lighter with a whisk. I'm using a 9 by 13 aluminum foil pan, nothing to this at all. And the reason I'm using this, I'm taking it for friends, so you don't have to mess around and bullshit around with, you know, cleaning the pan, bringing it back, yada, yada, yada. So, as I'm talking the talk, I gotta like kind of walk the walk here with my custard. Let me bring that down a little bit, starting to go here. It's time to start actually assembling the Filo part of our GALAKTOBOUREKO. And in this case, I am using my traditional or customary approach, which is 5 Filo sheets on the bottom, 5 on top. And because this is a sweet, I am using butter instead of olive oil in between the Filo sheets. So, give that a quick stir here. Oh my gosh. This is smelling so good. This is like awesome. Absolutely awesome. So, coming along with this. Still got a ways to go. At this stage here where we see it, it's really starting to kind of thicken up on us and tighten up. You don't want to leave this at all. Believe me, this is like one of these things where it'll catch on you in no time. And frankly, you just need a little bit of elbow grease here. Get your husband, boyfriend, whatever, neighbor, and just thicken that up just like that. Keep it stirring. Time to assemble our actual galaktoboureko. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take a little bit of butter, and you don't want to chintzy with the butter, believe me. This recipe is like so worth a lipitor. This is where it gets actually exciting. So just do the walls of your pan as well, the corners, because when this actually starts kind of coming out, you don't want anything sticky, because that's definitely not a no-no. And just very carefully, and you got to work fairly quickly here, because this thing will dry out on you like in no time. So one sheet goes on the bottom. You can even double up these sheets. It's only baking, it's only cooking. You know, people will be like, oh no, you can't do that. Yeah, you can. It's whatever you feel comfortable with. And just drizzle some butter everywhere. Let's let it go kind of where it may. As our galaktoboureko is gonna bake off, it will actually spread in itself, and the whole idea is to make this as light and fluffy as possible. So, another sheet of Filo goes here. Look at this. Look what I'm doing here. It's not the most graceful thing, but at the end of the game, we want it to be delicious. So, another sheet. So this is our second sheet. And you're just gonna continue this until you got 5 Filo sheets on the bottom. All right, so now that I have my 5 Filo sheets on the bottom all ready to go, it is time to get this party started. So now I'm gonna take my chocolate custard and check this out. Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Where the hell is that? Here it is. Another thing. You don't want to waste any of this deliciousness here. And just perfect. Perfect, just like that. Just leave this over here. And all you're going to do is just spread this evenly throughout and over your Filo. That's it. Now, 5 more on the top. Oh, look, I have a double sheet. Somebody kill me. It's not a big deal. Place it down. At the end of the day, you're not going to know the difference anyway. And don't let anybody tell you different. Same deal. Butter all over the place. This is where really butter makes everything better. Perfect. Just like that. Yeah. This is so worth it. One more layer at the top. Boom, just like this. And we're almost there. So this is our last layer. And if it's messy, chalk it up to rustic. That's the way it is. Hell, you buy somebody else's junk, and instead of calling it junk, they call it vintage. Well, in this case, our imperfections, we're going to call them rustic cooking or rustic baking. There, just like this. Drizzle that over the top. Ba ba boom, ba ba bing. And ba 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 ba. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. One last thing before we pop this into our oven. Remember, we got our oven preheating, 350 degrees. Nothing hotter, you don't want to burn the shit out of this. And You just want to kind of give it a nice golden brown. Take a really sharp knife and just the upper layers of your filo, cut them, pre-cut them. You don't have to go right to the bottom, just on the top. So in other words, and I'll tell you why I'm doing this. When this thing comes out of the oven, we're gonna pour our syrup over it. Remember our orange syrup that we made earlier? Well, here's the thing. It's gonna have opened, it's gonna be really hot. Our syrup's room temperature, right inside. It is gonna be absolutely perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And just cut like this. And you don't wanna make huge pieces either. This is not exactly on any Weight Watchers list. So you want everybody to kind of have a sampling of this. This is not something that you want to go insane for in terms of having these huge chunks. And definitely not bathing suit appropriate, if you know what I mean. So we got here 24 pieces of our galaktoboureko. Boom, ready to go. Popping this into my oven for about 30 to 40 minutes, give or take, and depending on your oven. Keep an eye on this. You want this to become beautifully like golden brown, delicious and flaky, but you don't want to burn the crap out of this. So I'll see you back here in a bit and we'll take it from there. Alrighty, the moment of truth has arrived. Baby, this is it. Check this out. This is right out of the oven. My galaktoboureko is ready. My chocolate galaktoboureko is ready. Now remember what I was telling you about our hot galaktoboureko right out of the oven with our room temperature syrup? Well, this is where it gets to kind of suck it all up. Now, you're just gonna take this and just pour it slowly over the entire surface of the galaktoboureko, and it may seem like a lot, but it really isn't, because what's going to wind up happening is all of this syrup will get absorbed by the custard itself, and it will add another level or dimension of moistness as well as flavor. I've added the orange because chocolate and orange go way better than chocolate and lemon. As far as I'm concerned, it's like a diuretic, chocolate and lemon. But anyway, the point is, this is gonna be fantastic. I'm not even gonna try and cut this at this point. I got to let this kind of settle, cool down a little bit, and just have at it. Believe me when I tell you, I can eat my body weight of this. This is so good. So that's it for this recipe on my chocolate galaktoboureko. I hope you guys try this. It's very easy. As long as you get your shit together and you're organized, you will have no problem doing this. Even if you're like an average or beginner baker or whatever, not a big deal. So until next time, please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that little bell notification. Also share this. It goes around. Listen, Greeks love their galaktoboureko. You can too. So until next time, my friends, I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.